It off. Let's see what's going on out here. We've been getting a lot of good comments on my daily videos, and even some of the last week the rush hours I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 4:30. Those are getting a lot of great comments.
Awesome, bro. Good for you. It's good to hear.
Yeah, most people though go back and watch them. They don't really watch them live. I get a few of the regulars, like we have some really awesome regulars that come in and pop in for the live shows, and they help drive it with good comments and stuff. At some point I need to talk about Kirk Herbstreit's comments from last week about the QB battle going into the season, like Michigan did last year. Yeah.
So I didn't hear it.
That's going to be a huge one. But what's up, everybody? Welcome into your TBC Weekly. We are here live, YouTube, as always, every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Buckeye Football. Me, Jeff and Shawn. Shawn is MIA. He is actually probably on the other side of the world right now. He's spending a couple of weeks in Japan.
Konnichiwa.
So we are free to actually have a discussion about the entire offensive depth chart, not just the quarterbacks, and debating and in circles. So no debating in circles tonight, hopefully. And we're talking offense, too deep. Probably don't need to go much deeper than two. And as you know, if you're following the daily blitzes I'm doing, I'm ranking my position by position, top to bottom, 1 through 7, 1 through 18, whatever the position might be. So you guys definitely are aware of those and where I stand there. So you might have a little bit of an idea of where I'm headed. But we got Jeff here, and he's going to give his thoughts on our two deep across the entire offense. But first, Tipper, what's up, man? Haven't seen you on Sunday night in a while, I don't think. Got Billy in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining. One quick point or one quick topic before we let me lay some of the usual bullshit on you. Hit the TBC Friends community. I just dropped a bunch of highlight videos for the 2025 quarterbacks. You got Bryce Underwood from Michigan, the #1 player in the country. Then I also dropped two Ohio quarterbacks. This is insane, Jeff. You got 2 quarterbacks from Ohio in the 25 class that are huge national recruits. I'm talking everybody is offering them.
At least high fours. They're like high fours right now.
Well, yeah, Tavian is technically a 3. He's going to get upgraded to a 4 at least. Could end up.
But if you're right, what matters is he offers. If Alabama offers 3 stars too, if people know, people know.
Right.
You're right.
Eventually,
who's offering is more important than star rank. Always.
Yeah. So like Tavian St. Clair from Bellefontaine, not pronounced Bellefontaine, as I've been corrected.
Yep.
Bellefontaine, and then Ryan Montgomery from Findlay. Both guys, from the Northwest Ohio kind of area.
Yeah.
So it's a huge deal for Ohio high school football. It's pretty awesome. So I just dropped videos of them, their highlights in the TBC Friends community. So you got to be a member. You got to hit that join button down there below this video to go see those videos. I also put together a video of their 7-on-7 competition from last week. Jeff, did you know that Wapakoneta is actually pronounced Wapakoneta?
I think I did hear that.
Yeah. This old lady that works at the car wash right up the street from me, right here in St. Pete, she is from Wapaw. She pronounced it Wapakoneta. Blew me away that she said that. No, she didn't blow me away.
Right. You're in St. Pete, Florida. When's the last time you even heard the word Wapakoneta? Birthplace
I
of
thought she was
birthplace of a
pronouncing
great.
it wrong. I was like, wait a second. Are
I-
you sure? Then I didn't correct her.
Yeah, Wapakoneta, home of our former U.S. Senator and astronaut walking on the moon,
Okay.
Neil Armstrong.
There you go. So, yeah, Northwest Ohio paying dividends as usual.
Yeah. I used to run track against Wapakoneta sometimes when Elida and Selena, Lima,
Oh, yeah.
all that the west side of Ohio.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So yeah, this 7-on-7 that Tavian St. Clair and Ryan Montgomery were at also included the likes of Shelby. Yeah, Shelby. I said that. What those dirt bags doing? I guess they needed some punching bags. You know, somebody to take a dive. So Shelby's always that. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so go check those out. Join the TBC Friends community and tons of recruiting stuff. Billy Tuesday can account and give you a testament on that. Yeah, he's got it right here in the chat. Billy says Underwood looked great, and the Ohio boys look pretty damn good too. So I agree 100%, man. This is a huge. This 25 class is going to be interesting, and keep an eye out on the TBC Friends community. I got more. I'm going to be posting 2024 videos of most of our targets that are out there and our commits as well. So get in there. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, one quick thing, Joe. One quick thing. That quarterbacks, the Ohio kids, you know, as everybody should know, Ryan's older brother Luke Montgomery, probably, you know, came in as going to be a freshman. Probably the best lineman of that class. The way what we're hearing about him, he's progressing really good. So, if hopefully, you know, if Ryan turns out to be the quarterback that Day decides he wants, that's a relationship that you have to take advantage of. But it's probably a kid. He's probably going to want to know an answer, and if you know, that comes down to the college, the team kind of trying to take their time and wait to see who they can get, and the kid also before he commits, he wants to know you were committed to him. So it's a tricky game nowadays with, you know, recruiting these quarterbacks. But his older brother Luke is on campus, so it's a good start for us.
Right. I am going to be surprised. I guess, I don't know. We got the question out there if this is going to be a 2 quarterback class. And I think it kind of has to be. I mean, Ryan Day definitely wants it to be, but, you know, who grabs that offer first? Because Ohio State has only offered these 3 guys, Underwood, Montgomery, and St. Clair. So it's not like they're just throwing offers around the country like Michigan does. Did we talk about that? I don't think we talked about that.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, Michigan with their 300 plus offers just in the 24 class alone.
Just cast out big nets. You're bound to catch something. Just throw a big net out there.
Yeah. I looked at their offer list, and there's I'm talking a ton of unranked guys they're offering. So how are they? I don't know. I don't know how you can offer a kid that has no ranking. That means he has not been seen by the public's eyes, basically.
What do they know? I mean, is a kid from an area where they have a close friend? You know, like one of the coaches is I mean, do they have like a direct pipeline, like direct contact with, you know, the university and the high school? That would be a circumstance. Whereas, you know, they know about this kid, and the coach will tell him, look, one more season with us, he's got the potential. This kid's crazy. Watch. You know, they throw an offer out to him quick. I mean, I'm thinking of some kind of scenario, but you're right. It doesn't make any sense. If you have 0 ranking, that means nobody's seen you to rank you, right?
Yeah. All they know is your name. They don't have measurements, nothing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So in the chat,
it does seem wild.
Right. In the chat, I see Tyrone. What's up, Tyrone? Been a while. How you been, man? Good to see you. He says that he didn't like that Notre Dame got the D tackle over Ohio State. Yeah, that was a very quick recruitment. That didn't really go very long. It seemed like they were a one-trick pony, like in and out. We know where we want to go, and Marcus Freeman, getting it done.
Yeah, and we have to plan to battle for any of these top level kids that we go after, because we go after the high character kids. Most of the kids we're bringing coming in are great students and that kind of stuff. So I mean, those are the kids that Notre Dame is going to battle for. Anybody in the Midwest, Notre Dame's going to be fighting to the end. So I mean, he's going to win. Marcus Freeman's going to win some. He's going to lose some. Yeah, we have an overall better pitch, but he's in Luke Fickell being in Wisconsin. They're gonna get some kids. We're gonna have to be in some battles for some kids. We'll probably win out in the end, but they're worthy competition to us in that aspect, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I would be curious to know. The kid hasn't even been on Ohio State's radar for very long, just a few months. So I would be curious to know if he had a previous connection to Notre Dame, whether it's through the family or whatever, because down here, he's from Clearwater. So down here, there's a shitload of Midwest folks, Canadians as well, to whatever, I'll leave my comments about Canadians out on the side. But I would imagine there was some kind of connection there, because he just jumped right in, without even thinking about it. So everybody in the chat says we need some D recruits. They're coming. I'm telling you, they're coming. This would not be a class of 13 people if they weren't coming. The defensive recruits are coming. Just got to be patient. I think July is going to be a huge defensive recruiting month as far as commitments go. You got these visits. You got to let these guys get through their visits in June. This is the way it always plays out. July is where people want to make decisions before their fall camp begins and their fall practices for their senior years. So
Ohio State has a couple. I think at least one big weekend scheduled in June. I think two. Where they got a the who's who list of top recruits coming in bunches. So you got to think, if it goes well for one, it goes well for others. So that's when you get the big windfalls. Kind of sometimes you have a big weekend and somebody looks so impressed and they sell it to the other guys, and it kind of all makes them all have the same experience. We've had a couple of those weekends in years past. So you're right. I mean, it's about that time after, a couple weeks in June. You're right. July decision time. Bama always closes in July, August. They close strong, and they're probably gonna do it again this year. But that's usually what happens. So we gotta now we can expect it and say when it's gonna happen until it doesn't. The coaches still have to where everybody's expecting it, but they still got to close the deal. So we'll see how it really ends up.
I think just to calm everybody in the chat, or just to give you what I know, we are getting Aaron Scott, Bryce West for sure. I got those locked up as Buckeyes. Serious. I'm not just spitting stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then Miles Lockhart out of Arizona is your slot corner. So you got the three right there. If we go for a fourth, that's where things get interesting, because we've played a lot of different guys. We've worked on a lot of guys. We had Xavier Brown come in from California with some of his teammates. He came in twice within 10 days back in spring, brought his mom the second time. And he's a guy that grew up a Buckeye fan. I believe he has Buckeye, Ohio roots. So he could be a fourth if we go 4 on the cornerback position. So it's coming. It's coming.
If
it's
there's
just
four,
a
if
matter
we,
of time.
if as a general rule, if you can get four corners that you want, always take them. Always.
Right.
You can't have enough good corners in today's
Yeah.
football. So I mean, hopefully we can close with four that we really wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That feels really good when hell we we really wanted these four. You know, they're all four at the level. That's the one thing about getting two quarterbacks. Are you going to get maybe a top 5 and a top 10 quarterback? Well, probably not, because if the top 10 quarterback commits first, it's hard to go out and get one of those top 3 or top 4 guys or top 2 guys in the country,
right?
Because you already got the 10th best, or whatever. So that's the tricky part. A lot of times you see a lot of schools will take 2 quarterbacks. One's going to be like for some reason underappreciated, and one's going to be real high. It just seems to work out that way. Quarterbacks are the one. They're the one position that they don't want all that competition. You know what I mean? Receivers and running backs are a little more brash or a little more confident, maybe not confident. I don't mean quarterbacks aren't, but you know what I mean. Yeah. They're more business like. They get more.
We got to restock that room because we could be down 2 corners at the end of this year easily. Definitely one. And right now we're looking at what do we got? 7 corners. We could be down 2 after the season, at least 1 for sure. And maybe you got to figure one's going to transfer that doesn't get the playing time they want this year. So yeah, and I mean we're probably going to be in a portal for John Carter. Does he have 2 years eligibility, or is this his last year? Or does he have only 1 year with us or 2? Oh, he's got a couple. Yeah,
couple. Okay, all right. So, I was just thinking of.
Safety room is going to be thin too.
Safety room. That's a lot corner. The nickel safety slot corner. That debate.
Right.
But whatever. I'm just thinking of guys that could go pro and figure you're going to lose 1 at the bottom, but so you're going to go into the transfer portal for 1 or 2, but you got to sign 4. You got to keep adding 4. It should be 4 defensive backs, probably at least 6 total every year. I would take 4 corners every year.
Exactly. And corner's a big deal. So I think we're going to lock up at least 3 quality dudes. From there, we'll figure it out. But tonight we're focusing on the offense. Before we get into the offensive 2D, I did want to talk about quickly the Swamp Kings. What do you know about the Swamp Kings, Jeff?
Probably not as much as I should.
It is a Florida Gators documentary about the Urban Meyer era called The Swamp Kings, coming from Netflix in August, late August. It's about the Urban Meyer era, 2006 to 2009 at the University of Florida. This might be one of the best documentaries about football ever. This is going to be nuts.
If they do it right. I mean, if there's somebody really good,
it's Netflix.
They got a real talented guy doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that the guy that's doing the documentary has done a bunch of others. So this is going to be super interesting. You're talking Aaron Hernandez. You're talking Percy Harvin, the Pouncey twins. Oh, yeah. Jeez, many fucking maniacs on that team.
Fucking Riley, the receiver, the white dude. Riley Cooper.
Riley Cooper. There you go. This is going to be insane.
Janoris Jenkins. They had Carlos Dunlap on defense.
Loaded with NFL talent too.
Fucking Christ! If you look at the talent he was bringing in.
Yeah,
and he locked up Central and North Florida. He did.
Yeah, I mean,
from Jacksonville to Panhandle,
there seemed like
Lakeland.
He did okay. Yeah,
cleaned it.
He didn't even have to go to South Florida much.
No.
Amazing.
I'm excited.
If you talk about just the police blotter every week, that's a documentary in itself for 4 years.
You can fill half the time with just actual charges filed. But yeah, there's seeing how far they go. Like, what all do they expose? because there's still theories that there was Aaron Hernandez killed someone while at Florida.
Right.
That he had murdered at Florida. So I mean, do they go far into that investigation, and or do they just target like him and they just pound him for 45 minutes or whatever? Then it would get then it would be kind of boring.
There's so much more. Like that would be a waste of time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
they did an Aaron Hernandez documentary like series. It was multiple episodes, I think. So like
that would ruin it though. That's what would take away from it. I thought, if they just focused on one spot, because there's so much. There is so much going on. And being down here through it, there's everybody talked about it. Like it was on the Orlando radio.
Fights in practice, just
Jeremy Fowler,
nuts.
ESPN's Jeremy Fowler getting cussed out by Urban on the practice field, full video. Because when Fowler was with the Orlando Sentinel then, and fucking Urban fucking squared off with him, and he's like, "No, you're not coming on this fucking field." Like blocked him at the sideline, and he's in his fucking face. He's like, "You want to write some shit about one of my guys, and then try to get his roommate to talk shit about him? I'll fucking dare you." He's like, "You don't come on this field." Like fucking giving it to him.
Nice.
Now Jeremy Fowler, he's NFL insider on ESPN. He got cussed out, undressed. Now Urban had
college game didn't work out for him, huh?
I mean, like there was full video and audio. So I mean, Urban had to apologize and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of a big stink.
Well, he probably made sure tape was rolling when he said that.
He was aware. The media was there. Like what I'm saying, like all the media was walking out to the field.
Yeah. Fowler sleeps with the fishes. Right?
Right.
Sent him a fish wrapped in paper. So this is going to be awesome. I can't fucking wait. I will actually turn my Netflix subscription back on just for this and then turn it off immediately the following month. But this is going to be fucking good, man. It's been a while since Netflix had something I wanted to watch.
Exactly.
So that's going to be awesome. Let me catch up on the chat here real quick. Defense. Yeah, we got dudes. I'm telling you guys, this defense is going to be loaded. We got a good season of tape out there.
Exactly.
Kids can see.
Hope they do it right, because there's
this type of defense. You got awesome recruiters out there. You got Laurinaitis bringing in linebackers that we have not had in quite a while. It's gonna be awesome. I feel really good. This might end up being like a fucking 30-man class, because we already have like 13 and 11 of them are on offense, and we're going after more dudes on offense, O-line and wide receivers specifically. But
we don't make a practice of it, Joe. But if it's just one of those years where we have 28 guys that really want us, and we really want them, and we're filling everything that we need in our roster. Fucking then take the 28. Oversign this year. If you do have to do it once every 4, 5, 6 years, and to really, really help, if you got them and they want to be here, get them here. Well, let's figure it out later.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I feel good about this draft. Recruiting class, not draft class. It does feel like we're drafting at times, but anyways, check out the Daily Blitz tomorrow. I got some recruiting updates on guys that just visited this weekend. Daniel Cruz, the offensive lineman from Texas. Also, Lincoln McKinley, the D tackle from Louisiana. Check it out. And got some updates on some receivers as well. So
I tell you what,
subscribe.
The five-star recruiting name, Lincoln McKinley. You're welcome north. He's from Louisiana. That's unfortunate.
Well, it was way before that time.
Yeah. That's an awesome name, Lincoln McKinley. He's probably a big guy. Sounds like he's a big man.
Definitely. So, all right, let's get into the offense too deep. I'm kind of timid to step in these waters, but let's lead off with quarterback. waiting for Shawn to just chime in from a plane over the Pacific.
Right.
I know you're not
I mean,
giving Kyle McCord that starting job yet.
so Joe, I'm based in all my decisions are based on what I'm projecting that I see first week of the season, not what I want to see, not my picks. I'm projecting what I'm expecting to see. Okay, just so we're all clear on.
Yeah.
But if you want me to go, obviously I'm starting off. I think Kyle McCord is. Well, I'm projecting him to be the starter, with Devin Brown as the backup. That's
Exactly.
that's not big news. No hot take there. But if the coach says it's still an open competition and Devin Brown wins it in the fall, I'll be like, I didn't predict it, but you can't. I'm not writing him off. Like, and that's where Shawn takes it. He takes it as a personal attack towards Devin Brown if we think that Kyle McCord will end up starting. It's just,
Right.
You're asking me to bet on what's going to happen. I make bets all the time. I'm betting this guy's going to win.
And it's not a wide gap. That's the thing.
No,
between the two,
right.
It's like areas of gray, not black and white.
Of course, and that goes with a lot of positions that we're going to have to go through.
Yeah.
But and obviously, all this is without without injuries involved, because injuries going to happen to someone. Nobody knows who, so you can't project injuries on people. Not too many people, certain players.
Right.
But
and you got to remember,
barring injuries, obviously, to every projected spot.
Right, and that's why this entire position battle is going to go into the fall, because a lot of the receivers were not available. In spring, and there's no timeline. You got to remember, CJ Stroud was not named the starter back in 2021 until August 21st. That was like a week before the first game, maybe 10 days at the most.
So that first game at Minnesota. Minnesota.
It was a Thursday night.
Yeah. And that was
a great call. Great time to have an Ohio State game, BTN. Dumb fucks.
Right. That was after that game, we were like, I don't know, what kind of team do we have? Are they really special, or are we going to go 8-4? You weren't sure after that game, but you're right. You need to, you got to give both quarterbacks to get some kind of continuity with the starting receivers. And Mecca wasn't catching passes. Xavier barely caught anything this spring. Fleming out completely. So, I mean, you got to.
And Marv lined up in the slot most of the spring.
Yeah, I think they were just trying all the different shit with him. Yeah, they're just. Well, since we don't have the
Tate was running at his position.
Yeah, and Tate took and Carnell Tate took full advantage of that from all reports. It really shined. Was given that spotlight. So, you may hear his name here in a little bit.
Yeah,
you may not.
Okay,
we'll see.
So, we got our two deep, Kyle, then Devin as of right now. So running back. Let's get into running back. I'll let you go ahead and lead off there, and then I'll give my opinion.
I see as Trey Henderson taking the first carry of the season, and with Maya Williams the backup. I almost want to give a 4 deep at this spot, because I think we'll see a good percentage of all 4, and that's Dallin Hayden and Chip Trayanum. I think they all get. I bet they all. Here we go. All 4 of those running backs get over 100 carries this year.
Oh wow! What about Evan Pryor?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I say 4 of the 5 running backs get 100 carries. I think it's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be well distributed in our backfield, as long as injuries don't hit us like they did last year. Of course, I mean, if a couple of guys go down, you don't have 5, now you have 3, and it kind of maybe becomes more clear on playing time. But I just think that as injury history has shown in all of those guys, they're all going to need help with carrying the load. I don't think any of them are a main number 1 guy right now. So I mean, I put 3 and 4 in that depth chart, real close to 1 and 2. But I go Trey Henderson, then then Mayan, then Chip, then Dallin.
Well, you got to remember it's
Then Evan.
It's a limited amount of carries too. I mean, looking at last year's stats, Mayan had 128, Dallin Hayden 111, Travion 107, and then it's down to 15 for Chip, a dozen for Xavier. So, and then TC Caffey doesn't really count, but
all right. So so they were just short of 400 carries. It sounds like.
Right. But I don't know how you're going to divvy that up over 4 dudes, especially if Travion and Mayan are healthy.
That's what I'm saying. I don't predict any of those 4 to play in all 12 games. We're doing too deep. I got all kinds of other predictions. We can get into those later.
Well, yeah, I went back and looked at 2021's carries, and Travion had 180. And Mayan only had 71. And he had Master Teague in there. Evan Pryor had 21. Crowley had a couple dozen. So, yeah.
We saw.
To me,
I remember the Evan Pryor carries. They were in blowouts, and he'd get in there. But I was like, God damn, this dude looks great. Curtis Samuel. That's what I always thought when I saw him. I'm like, fucking Curtis Samuel. And I am the biggest Curtis Samuel fan. What he did for us. I love that. I love that player. One of my favorite players in the last couple of decades. So yeah, super excited about Evan Pryor. You got to expect one of them's going to go down. You got to expect there's going to be an injury to one. And you don't want to see it. You want to see all 5 get major carries, but at the same time, you're not going to keep 5 guys happy with getting sharing the carries for 4 of the people.
No.
But it seems like a pretty good room, though. It seems like a really good room. Tony Alford's been there a long time, has a lot of respect amongst, kids that come into the program. He's, he's recruited all those kids. So he's got a pretty good, he's probably got to work really hard to keep a good relationship with all of them. You know what I mean? He's probably working as hard as he's ever been.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's better to have that. It's better to have that than 2 guys or one guy that's really fragile and the next guy that's like a very big step below him. We got 5 that are really, really close to the top. Right. So I take that over the big 1A.
Right. So I'm going Travion as my starter as well. Mayan right behind him. I think with a first-year starting quarterback, no matter who wins the job, and a retooled offensive line, you've got a solid, stable running backs. I think they're going to need to rely on those running backs early on in the season, especially the first 3 weeks at least, and probably have more of a rushing heavy offense early on for the first few weeks. And you got, I think a healthy Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson are not going to get jumped over by anybody else behind them. I think those guys are going to get spot duty as far as Chip, Dallin, and Evan Pryor go. Evan, don't forget about Evan. He blew his knee out a year ago in fall camp. So he's not, he might not be full go by August. It's very possible.
I thought I had heard one of the insiders say that the program, they're expecting him, but it's not a guarantee at this point, but they're expecting him back at full go by fall camp.
That might have been a Nevada nugget, Jeff. You shouldn't pay attention to those.
I don't believe I follow his stream anymore. I don't even know. Is he still on somewhere? I don't even know.
I don't know.
But but that's just all on how the body comes together. You might be on track, but in that last month, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't progress and hit that point you need to.
Well,
but anyways,
100% back in doing full drills.
That's it. Most important thing, our number one, he came in recruited as number one. If he's healthy and he stays healthy, then he is our number one. He will be the bell cow as long as his body allows him to be.
Exactly.
I would go about that. You can't have a lot of confidence that he's going to be able to be just the main one guy, Zeke Elliott, in a year. But that's why it's so nice. Like fine if you can only play 8 games out of 12, cool. We got four other guys that I can run for 150 on any given day that you could. So, yeah. So I 3, 4, and 5 are right there. But 1 and 2, you're right, are decided with Trey and mine.
Yeah, and health, like we said here, health plays into that 100% for Evan Pryor. So let's go to receiver now. Let's go 2 deep at all 3 positions. I'll let you go ahead and lay out who you got, and then I'll come in with mine. Okay,
so Marvin plays what they call the X, right? Is that I mean, we'll put there.
Yeah.
Marvin at the X, which then we put Fleming at the Z and Emeka in the slot.
Yeah.
So my 3 after that, Xavier Johnson is probably Emeka's 2.
Right.
The experienced Jaden Ballard, the deep threat, behind Julian, and I'll go with Carnell Tate as a freshman with Brandon Ennis. Maybe no, Ennis is more of a slot guy. But he'll get playing time. He's not going to pass Emeka, but we'll see him on the field later in the year. But I think Carnell Tate's in our 2 deep right now. I think he can do a lot of. I think he looks real comfortable out there. With Marvin, if they're on. When Marvin moves into the slot, it may be set with some of those type of situations where he gets on the field where we just put a different package in with our slots off and we're working Marvin in there, and then an outside guy like Carnell gets in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty much right in line with you as far as the 2 deep goes. I think Tate has done a ton of progression in the spring. Coming in January was a huge advantage for him versus Ennis coming in later.
And look what we're talking about. We're talking about all the juniors and the incoming freshmen. Where's our sophomores? There's no sophomores to talk about.
2 left. We're down 2 Caleb's.
down a couple Caleb's.
But we're up 2 Rogers.
Roger that. See, but that's just the point of of missing on that class. I'm bringing that to light again.
Yeah, it's huge.
So
Grace and Kojo Antwi are the 2 remaining guys from that.
And I like those guys. I hope we see them. I would like to see Kojo really produce, really emerge, and be able to be at least counted upon or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, the receiver is pretty much it. I mean, that's the same 6 that a lot of people are going to have because there's really not another option.
We'll
have a freshman.
You want to dip into. I mean, I would make the argument that Ballard is there to chip away at some of Fleming's reps. If we're talking about guys that are deserving or maybe might show their worth taking reps from the starters. Same with I don't know if X-Man can take much away from Emeka, but other than giving him a blow. Same with Tate. I mean, like Brian Hartline's motto is, if I'm going to pull somebody off the field, you got to be as trustworthy and produce the same level as that person I just pulled off. And that's tough, especially for a Carnell Tate just now coming in. I mean, Ballard's in his 3rd year.
Yeah.
So, but Tate being just by the time August rolls around, he'll be on campus 8 months.
Yeah.
So, Xavier, don't have any concerns about him. He could play anywhere you want him to. Ballard is going to be interesting to see if he can shave some reps off of Fleming's count,
and you got to think so because of his shoulder injury, his shoulder pass, his little nicks. His little nicks. I mean, the dude's been injured a lot. No, I'm not saying he plays. He doesn't play with any bruises. Meaning he's always really soft. I'm not meaning that at all. Dude gets knocked down. And he gets his shoulder's been messed up a couple times.
Since 8th grade, he's had this shoulder injury that's been recurring. He's had to get surgery seemingly every offseason.
And you got to wonder how far is that going to, how much further can you go with that? But You
It's
got to
definitely going to
expect
hurt his NFL draft status when he goes to the combine and they start
Sure, it will.
poking and prodding at that
They,
shoulder.
yeah, they do them physicals, and you're like, oh, this is something degenerate, whatever.
But spend
so
8 hours working on your shoulder.
You expect him to miss some reps at some point. He's gonna be down for a little bit of time periodically through the season. You have to expect it. So, yeah, Jaden Ballard's going to be he's going to be expected to not miss a beat there. I don't think there should be no fall off in production. And there's not even going to be a lot of production anyways. But that deep threat is where he's really going to be able to keep defenses honest, and he can do it as well as Fleming can, if not better, with that deep ball.
And everybody has been saying in the wide receiver interviews and stuff back in spring, everybody says Jaden Ballard has the best hands in the room. And he's been improving his footwork, working on his route tree, working on contested catches against DBs. So so let's say Marv is on the accelerated plan, for a 2021 guy. Ballard is maybe a few months behind, 3 to 6 months behind, and like Hartline says, everybody's on their own path, their own timeline. So it's not fair to paint everybody in the same, box. But I think Ballard is reaching his time at his peak where he's ready to explode. And it's just a matter of him getting on the field,
Yeah.
So, and Carnell Tate definitely, I believe, has earned the right to crack that 2 deep. And Brandon Ennis, we'll see. I mean, he's really going to have to make some strides in fall camp. I don't know if there's going to be an open slot for him. You might see him late in games and stuff like that, blowouts and stuff. But Hartline doesn't run a deep rotation. You got to keep that in mind. Maybe he does in blowouts, but not in big games. Like, you're not going to see 4, 5, 6 receivers in the Notre Dame game.
No, exactly. And that's when I said we'll see plenty of Brandon Ennis. He's just coming in now. Yeah. He's behind a 5th-year guy like Xavier, who's Mr. Coach's dream of, he knows everything. You can always count on him. He's always going to be in the right spot. Super smart, super experienced. And then the number one, projected number 1 draft pick as ahead of him, and Mecca, who's super special. So to crack that, but just getting on campus for fall camp, that's like insurmountable. And you're right. So I don't expect to see him in big rotations, at least the first 6 games of the season, but you see some of those guys will come on like a Chris Olave as the year gets over, towards the end. And now this guy he's finally shown himself, by week 10, 11. So yeah, but we'll see him a lot. I expect a lot of blowouts too. So I do expect a lot of Devin Brown throwing the ball to a lot of Brandon Ennis up 30. That I do expect to see that.
And you could also make the point that receivers get some tired legs by week 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, everybody needs rest.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, especially if they're going every single rep without anybody coming in and giving them more of a blow. Like, I think they could have managed that better in the past. I know that it's almost sacrilege to call into question Brian Hartline and his methods, but maybe he's not the best decision maker all the time, especially if he's in a ATV.
Well, and if he's going to be if he's going to be up in the booth calling plays too, he's going to have like his GA is going to be on the sideline, moving those rotations.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to focus on play on snaps for the depth of that room.
Right.
That's going to be all on his GA. He can't take on that responsibility. I don't want him thinking about snaps for receivers.
Keenan Bailey can also chip in with that help as he's worked with the receivers, but he'll be tight ends coach. So yeah, I'm not too worried about how that arrangement's going to go. It will be interesting to see if Hartline is up in the booth, which you have to assume he will be. You kind of need that separation from the emotional sideline, So
and Coach Ryan Day, you can't. I see offensive coordinators standing, 3 feet from the head coach and calling plays, and I'm like, I I don't see how that can work out at all.
It doesn't seem like those are good teams.
It's like, no, they're not. But it didn't. I wouldn't like. It's like working with your boss over your shoulder. You don't get the best out of you. You're not performing your best ever. So hopefully he is in a booth. He needs to be separated. Because Day's going to have a lot of feedback, especially maybe at the start of the season, relinquishing some of that. So you're not going to want him on the sideline because he's going to be in his ear constantly, and that'll just distract Hartline. So hope he is in the booth. He can see everything clear. He doesn't have to focus on his receivers. He's got his GA taking care of that, and strictly just seeing the offensive game plan.
Right, exactly. All right, so let's crack the O-line here. Let's start with the guards. Let's start in the middle. I'm going Donovan Jackson, Matt Jones. Shouldn't be a huge surprise there.
Right.
The returning starters. And then behind them, I got Enoch. Enoch's a fourth-year guy. He's actually older than Donovan Jackson.
Yeah.
And so at the other guard, since Ben Chrisman's gone, transferred out, that was a tough one for me to come back with a second guard that has any kind of experience.
There's none.
Yeah. I guess you could consider Vic Cutler.
But is he working at guard, or is he only working at center? Because I got him in my 2 deep as a backup center.
Oh, dude. Okay. I just don't know who else to put in there because it seems like we have a ton of tackles.
I see that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know if Vic Cut's working at center and guard, and like a Jacob James, is he working center and guard?
Probably. Well, Jacob James was out the entire spring. He had shoulder surgery, so
we didn't. There was no talk of where he was. He wasn't working anywhere. So I don't know what the coaching staff might even be leaning that way, or how experienced. I do think that Enoch will be the swing guard. I think he's backing up right and left.
Yeah.
He's the first one in for either one of them.
Exactly. Yeah. If one of those guys goes down, Tegra actually I feel is a guard. So
I always thought he should be.
Yeah. So I think he should be the second man in for one of the guard spots if we go double, two guards go down, heaven forbid. But
move Tegra down because who's right? So you want to bounce the tackle. Who do you think is going to be the right tackle if Tegra's not?
Well, then that gets into the tackles. We can bounce out there. I got Josh Fryer, and then I got one of those Urban Meyer ors for this position. Josh Fryer starting at left tackle, and then I was looking at right tackle. Right tackle is Zen or Tegra or Josh Simmons. I'm actually going to pare that down to Zen, Mahalski, and Josh Simmons. I think it's a 2-man battle there. That's why I shove Tegra down into guard and bulk up that depth that we need down in guard. So starters, obviously, Mahalski / Simmons, and then you got a ton of guys that can fill in behind them. Whoever loses the battle is your next man up.
Yeah. I see it the same way. So that you're going to have a backup tackle that's just like Enoch. He's going to be backing up both sides. After that, Luke Montgomery might end up making the 2 deep on that tackle spot.
Wow.
I've heard. I don't know. I'd like to see it, like a freshman coming in, especially a Northwest Ohio kid. But being able to come in as a true freshman on the O line and crack a 2 deep, that's impressive in any class, I think. To do that at Ohio State, regarding of how big or how impressive your class was coming in. So yeah, George Fitzpatrick would be another option there, but we have no experience between either one. We haven't seen either one, so I don't know. I guess I like the name and the story of Luke Montgomery better than George Fitzpatrick. Both very presidential, though. I do like the names.
Fitzy.
Fitzy.
Yeah. Yeah. So then going to center, I got Carson Hensman because he worked the entire spring as a starter. I know Jacob James was supposed to be the next man up because he's a little older, but he wasn't there. So
No,
unfortunately, you couldn't lose your job because of injury. I know that it's not normally,
but it wasn't there. He never had the job though.
That's
He's
true.
not, he never actually had the job. He was just expected to be the starter. But if you're injured, and Carson Hensman, to me, Carson Hensman looks like starting center. He looks like our starting center.
Yeah.
I don't, just the look of this feeling. I don't know. And when you're not, I mean, nobody owes you shit, man. If you miss out on spring and a guy takes charge of that position, and by the time fall camp rolls around, they're really confident and comfortable with him. Man, you just got to work. You just got to go to work. You can't bitch. You can't take that as a slight. You just got to go to work. Jacob James, not saying he is, not at all. Don't know the story at all, but he can't. I don't think he has any position to feel that like something got taken away from him because he never had it.
Exactly.
He was expected to take it, never got, and just never got it.
And Cutler is still getting into the conditioning and the training. So
I would have to say they're moving because of our lack of depth at guard. I'm sure, our third string center is not strictly a center. It can't be. I mean, I'm sure he's working, all the, multiple positions. Any of those backups should be. They should be learning. If you're number 3 at guard, you should be learning tackle, guard, center, everything. Just because you're just an emergency guy.
Question for the chat. Wake up, you people. Give me your second string wide receivers. I want 3 of them. And you got to think it out. You got to think about who plays what position. Me and Jeff, we have our second string wide receivers, Carnell Tate, Xavier Johnson in the slot, and Jaden Ballard. So Carnell and Ballard are your outside guys.
That's a starting 3. That's a starting 3 in 90% of the colleges in NCAA.
Oh yeah.
that's a good starting 3.
Be all right. So, all right, let's keep it moving while we get some responses from the chatters.
We're tight end, right?
We're talking tackle. I don't think we finished.
Tackle. Okay.
Did we finish the
tackle? We can put a bow on this.
Go ahead. Who'd you have?
You were right. I mean, I was with you, Zen Mikowski, at the right tackle, and Simmons. Yeah. And him and Simmons. I felt the same way. Coach Justin Fry is really, really excited about this kid out of San Diego State.
Right.
He has a really good relationship with him. Now, how that translates, how practice and stuff goes. Mikowski, he looked really bad at times, but he looked like he held his own sometimes. And I saw some one-on-ones against JT. How consistent is that? Can he go a week of domination? I doubt it against the D-line that he faces from us. But what's the kind of consistency that we get from him and Simmons? Because that's probably what's going to decide that right tackle spot. Left tackle, I got Josh Fryer too. As a matter of fact, that the coaching staff has been about, Josh Fryer's now the left tackle, pretty much cementing it and not wavering it. That gives me all the confidence to say that, if they say, fully legitimately, there's our left tackle, then I'm with you guys. So, we talked about, Luke Montgomery maybe reckon that too deep. But I had the same starters. I think
Fitzpatrick might be a worthy backup behind the left tackle, but again, they might just flip the right tackle over to the left if Fryer were to go down.
What's the too deep? Week 1, very likely could not be the too deep. Week 8, week 10. Especially for a freshman coming in, it might take him 3-4 months to get situated or get comfortable. He finally gets used to where he's living. He doesn't have his mom doing his laundry every day. Shit like that you gotta adapt to. If I don't know how depending on if you grew up way different than what you're gonna be living like on your own. If it's way different, it takes a while to adjust. Any 18-year-old is expected to go through some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right, but they have all the support in the world. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Let's finish up with the tight ends here. I got Cade as a starter, Joe Royer when we go 12 personnel. Like I said earlier, I think we're going to lean heavily on a rushing attack early in this season. So tight ends are going to be a major part of that plan.
Yeah.
If you want to go deeper, I go G. Scott as my third man up.
Right, and you got to wonder, you're like, damn, when's G. Scott gonna make that step? You know, when's he gonna emerge? And I think there's
number 5 wide receiver in the country, by the way.
Yeah, yes. He came in with Emeka and Marvin. It was a good class we pulled in. But you know, I think there's packages that are going to be in for him.
No, actually, he's 2020. He came in with Fleming.
Was it Fleming?
We had the number 1
right.
and the number 5.
The 1 and 5.
Receivers.
That's right.
Yeah. 2020. Yeah.
I say Emeka because Emeka's from Washington also. Where he's from.
Right.
Seattle.
Season. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. So I think Joe Royer will be the number 2. You know, if we lead off the season 12 personnel and Trey in the backfield, it's gonna be Royer and Stover. Stover needs to be a part of our offense. I love the versatility that he can bring, and he can make plays. Right. I expect him to only be better at some of those. We missed on some really big plays with him. Not to say it was anybody's fault. Quarterback, him, you know, just timing was just slightly off, and there was a couple plays. He didn't quite get to the spot or whatever that could have been big.
Scott's up to 240. You know. Remember, he came in and he was having trouble staying under 220. Now he's up to 240, and that's legit playing weight for a tight end that's kind of is more of a receiving tight end. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, I mean, but there's some top receiver tight ends in the NFL right now at 240 to 250. I bet. You look at some of those guys. Those guys are not big. They're 6'4", 6'5", but they look like they're about 2. Yeah, like a Dalton Schultz or somebody like that. Like those guys aren't 255.
Right.
I don't see but I don't see it. But being 240 though, he's not going to be just all right. Well, whenever he's on the field, he's only receiving threat. They're not running the ball behind him.
Right.
Now, hopefully that this year maybe he's a little more effective because it's not a given that they're just trying to get him out running on a linebacker.
Honestly, I think you got to leave. I know this is a too deep, but because tight end utilizes 2 tight ends sometimes on the field, I'm leaving the door open for Jelani Thurman, the true freshman, to actually get some snaps. Maybe late in the season, maybe early on in some blowouts. He is a freaky big target, especially in the red zone, if you want to use him there. Yeah,
I think I would project that to be a developing thing. Whereas, come later in the year, he's one of those wrinkles we throw in against we pop out against Penn State. Like, they get this other kid in there on a 13 personnel red zone package. I expect that to be kind of developed, not to be much of an addition right away. But yeah, I totally expect him to be emerging as the season goes on. If he adapts, well and is good in a mental place.
Right.
Because from the south coming up to Columbus, fall turn into winter can do things to a child. So
it'll change you.
It'll change you.
Yeah. We got a good question here. There's one position we forgot about. Billy in the chat actually brought it up. He said, "Who is the short yardage fullback?" I got to go Chip Trainum. I think that's a no doubter. 5'11", 230. That's basically what Mitch Rossi was. Yeah,
it's Chip. If we need a power back, single power back, we're going. We got a lineman in the backfield with him. Yeah, and monster jumbo package. Yeah, it's Chip Trainum because he's still fast too. But yeah, that's our best and pretty much only option. We don't have. There's not any other type of fullback on the roster.
No, unless you want to start putting tight ends back there or some shit.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. You got G. Scott and Royer, but these guys are. If you ask G. Scott from where he's been, where he trained in high school, just not long ago, to be in like a fullback, like a H-back type role at a goal line situation, that ain't him, man. We're asking. I may be asking a little too much of a kid. You know what I mean?
I would go with the fullback / running back guy.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to. That's really the only option. And maybe we look at that down the road. You know,
I
maybe
think that's a real possibility.
But having one or two of those guys, it's not bad to have them. If you got a guy, especially think of like a Juszczyk from the 49ers. He went to West Virginia, and they used him at West Virginia. Oh, fucking Rich Rod. But he was a playmaker for them. And he's a playmaker. That dude is a playmaker because he can do a million different things, and he does them all really well. But they know what he can do, and they don't try to make him do shit he can't do. But there's a place for that guy on the team. Maybe you get him as a preferred walk-on, and then you see kind of how scholarships shake out. Because it's a dying position. So there's kids that are there's not like fullbacks getting offered by everywhere. There's a lot of places don't carry one. So those type of kids in high school, and those are usually, I played with one. You know him, our fullback in high school, meanest son of a bitch I know. They're just tough dudes. They're different. They have that different mindset. So I'd like to see Ryan Day and them pick up one of those over the next year or two. Just have one or two of those guys on staff, or not on staff, on the chart.
Yeah, I see Daniel in the chat actually is speculating that he heard Reed Carrico would be that Mitch Rossi guy. He said, "Don't take my word for it, though."
I've not. I mean, if he's heard
played,
something about
he
Carrico,
did play some fullback / running back in high school. Yeah, he's the best player on his team, so he went both ways. But
Jack Sawyer was a quarterback too. Didn't Sawyer play quarterback in the fucking playoffs or something?
He did.
Yeah. So, and when you're the best player, you get asked to do all kinds of shit in high school. That doesn't mean you're. I don't know. I've not heard anything else about Carrico getting any type of offensive looks.
No, he hasn't. And he probably won't.
But maybe that guy knows fucking grandpa Carrico, and they down at the foundry, and they talked to rumors. I heard my boys are gonna be doing this.
Yeah, he had football in his hands last week. Yeah, I see Stan in the chat. I'm loving. We got a bunch of new guys in the chat this week. It's pretty awesome. The chat is really popping off. I really appreciate you guys getting in here. Stan says that a lot of insiders say that George Fitzpatrick was our best pass blocker this spring. Well, it wasn't enough to overtake Fryer or take the right tackle job. I assume Fitzpatrick is working left. So
and when the coaches spoke about the competitions, it was Tegra and Zen, and there wasn't a mention of
no.
I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear his name at all from Fry.
There was never a second name brought up at the left tackle job.
No, right. It was we're hoping Josh stays healthy at left tackle. That's pretty much how I took it. Yeah. There's no issue until he gets injured.
Badass Buckeyes in the house. What's up, Bab? He says, "What's up?" He says, "Just chilling and listening to Nazareth, Hair of the Dog."
Oh my God!
Ever heard of it? Now you're messing with a son of a bitch. I like the Guns N' Roses version.
Oh, that fucking tape sitting in the back of your Jeep when I was 11. You were 18. Thought you ran the world, but goddamn, that Hair of the Dog.
I could blow through some fucking snowdrifts with that fucking Jeep. Does make you feel like a god.
Oh man, stories for another time.
Yeah.
Remember you knocked that kid over the big puddle? You got like a wave, like a tidal wave overtook this little kid, knocked him off the door. Yeah, guys, your host here, little 11-year-old boy riding down the sidewalk. Joe hits a 4-foot deep monster puddle, rips through it, and this tidal wave engulfs this kid, knocks him off his bike into the front yard. Funniest thing I've ever seen.
He had a soft
Hey,
landing spot.
I only wish I could have got a cellular video back in like 91.
Yeah.
This poor kid. Funny as shit.
Those are some big ass tires, man.
Monster.
They displace a lot of water.
Your big 15-inch monster box in the back that I had to deal with.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right. Yep. All right. I think that's a good place to end it. We'll knock it out. Yeah. Summertime episodes will get finished up a little earlier. I think next week we'll do a little defense too deep, dig in there, and oh boy,
do a little catch up with Shawn. We'll hear a little about his trip and
he won't be back next week. He's gone for like 10 days.
That's right. He's in for a couple. All right. The Far East report will have to wait to be continued.
Yeah.
Always nice hearing stories back from there. Shawn has a good time when he goes over.
Yeah, sure does. I did learn. Did I tell you guys this? That the Blanton's Black Label is only 80 proof. A friend of mine went over to Japan just a few weeks ago, got back recently, got that Black Label Blanton's for $37 US. And then after he got back is when he texted me when he got it over there. And then after he got back, he told me it was only 80 proof. I was like, why didn't you tell me that before?
Is that just how American booze gets knocked down before it's
No,
allowed
I think it's
country?
just that particular Blanton's label, because that's not normal for anything to be knocked down and dragged out like that. That's fucked up.
I never heard that before of any country serving like American liquor, but at a lower percentage than what it's bottled at. I never heard of it before. That's why I was wondering if. I've never paid attention to what proof was of any Japanese whiskey or anything that I've had. So I don't know what maybe they're not allowed to have anything over 100 proof or 90 proof.
No, I'm pretty sure that there's not really a regulation on the alcohol content.
Why would there be?
He showed me a fucking picture of he was in a liquor store. He had a 4-liter plastic bottle of bourbon, whiskey. It was whiskey, of Japanese whiskey. 4 liters. Jesus.
That's the guy with sweatpants. Are you gonna drink? Are you gonna try to kill yourself? Buy the 4-liter. Right. Just fucking 4 liters of whiskey. You want a 3-liter of Coke with your 4 liters of whiskey?
Right.
Yeah, some sweatpants on the next aisle.
Yeah. Stephen Cherry's in the chat.
That's psychopath. What's he doing?
Oh, he says he's already jumping ahead to next week. He's like already into the defense too deep. He's making broad accusations for CJ Hicks and Sonny Styles. He says they better get significant playing time this year. And I think that's a sneak peek of next week's episode, Stephen. But thank you.
I think Stephen might be getting too deep.
Yeah. So, all right, folks. We appreciate everybody hopping in here.
That's awesome to hear. Awesome to hear the chat line, Joe. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy you guys.
It's going off. It's going off. We got new guys. We got the regulars. Got members in here, the TBC friends. We appreciate that. Don't forget, everybody. Hop into that TBC friends group here on YouTube and check out those recruiting videos. Those 7-on-7 videos are hard to find. So, and if you want to check those out, I'm going to have more recruiting videos coming up for more of the Buckeye targets and recruits for the 24 and 25 class. So get in there, be a member, and check out that community tab. When you're looking at the channel, go to the community tab and you'll see a bunch of posts I'm putting out there every day. So appreciate everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Later, bro.
Appreciate you, Jeff.
Yes,
Go Bucks.
Interesting.